Bernhard is just a machine.
You know, he looks like he outworks everybody.
I think it's underestimated what he's achieving. Perfect.
Bernhard has always been unique in his career.
It's almost like he gets better with age.
I feel like he's going to live forever somehow, just the way he plays golf.
He's tough to compete against.
He just doesn't make mistakes.
He has just been an absolute superstar for decades.
My goodness.
There's no sign that he's letting up.
Bernhard Langer again.
He's been great for so long that it's hard to fathom.
It's a commitment to a lifestyle.
Bernhard really has kept the drive.
Victory secure for Bernhard Langer.
Personification of longevity.
I'm an unbelievable competitor.
What a cut from Bernhard Langer.
It doesn't surprise me what he's doing.
It's quite phenomenal.
Oh, my. Oh, are you kidding?
He's one of the most historic golfers in the game of golf.
Bernhard Langer has won it.
He's an inspiration to all of us.
How about that putt? Wow.
Twice a champion here.
Unbelievable.
This is my parents' house where I grew up. I would just dump a bunch of practice balls and hit, 50, 70-yard wedges over the creek to a small target over there and then back.
Let's start at the beginning. Your mom and dad. What can you tell us about your parents?
They grew up in a very difficult time in their life. It was World War II. My mother was one of 12 kids. There wasn't enough food for all of them. Growing up in a farmhouse, so she had to walk an hour and a half to work 10 hours a day just to get 3 meals, and walk back an hour and a half, and that was a daily routine. My dad was drafted into the Air Force and then got captured by the Russians toward the end of the war and was on a POW train to Siberia. When he jumped off the train, they got shot at, but obviously missed him, and he was able to run away and hide in the woods and then head west when it was dark and hide during the day. And about 3 weeks later, the war was over, and he made his way to Germany. That's when he met my mother, and a few years later, they got married and started from scratch. Let's have a look at some of these old pictures and reminisce a little bit.
Lots of photos.
Probably start here. Little baby, right? That was me.
That's you, yeah.
That's the three of us.
Our uncle's first tractor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's us. Maria, you and me.
Little different outfits than now. First day of school.
Wow. Yeah, that's you.
Yeah, so this is, where I spent my first 5 years of schooling, and I didn't really enjoy school too much. My favorite in school was sports. That was only 1 hour a week. This is the one and only church in this town. And I was altar boy here. The altar boys would kneel, and kind of would kneel here, and you ring the bells when you at certain times, and kneel and stand up and that kind of thing. And so that was my early life, church, school, go home, have lunch, go to the golf course later on once I turned 9 when I started caddying.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's really.
I saved money being a caddy to buy my own bike, finally get to the golf course fast.
You were very proud about that.
Yes.
So your brother kind of introduced you to the game.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was basically his fault how it all started, because he started caddying, and then my sister Maria as well caddied. And when I saw both of them come home with a few Deutschmarks in their pocket, I was 9 years old. I'm going, hey, well, how do you earn money? I want to earn some money too. So I always say it was the love of money that got me to the game of golf, but it didn't take long till I fell in love with the game, and we were able to practice and play at our local course, which was 5 miles away. So every afternoon after school was over, I would jump on my bicycle and ride up there and either get a bag to caddy and earn some money, or, putt and chip and hit some balls.
How does a 9-year-old get entrusted with being a caddy at a golf course?
Well, I was very fortunate again. My very first bag was with the club champion, and he was a handicap too. And I suppose I didn't lose many balls. I had good eyes and a great technique how to find balls when they went into the hay and the deep rough. A golf ball cost several dollars or Deutschmarks at the time. So if I would find a ball or two that others wouldn't find, they'd already paid for my caddy job. Anyways, he liked me, and he said, from now on, you're going to be my regular caddy. Every time I come to play golf, you're going to be my guy. This is where it all started. And the old clubhouse was just a wooden shack with a little room for the caddies on the end of it. And that was right here where you see these T markers. So this was where the old clubhouse used to be. They tore it down, obviously, and, made the course a little longer, more modern. Hello. Hello. Chris Scott. Hello. We had a little caddy shack with a bench and a couple of chairs, and on the wall there was a swing sequence of Jack Nicklaus, of his swing, and that's the only great player we had ever seen here. So I'm sure we copied Jack to some extent. At the club, everybody said, wow, you're really good. And I was 13, 14, 15 years old, and I had no idea. There's no one to compare myself with at that local level. But I felt I was talented. I was always good in sports, in all sports. Hand-eye coordination was no problem. And I was gifted, so it was a matter of working hard and working on the right things. And I finished my 9 years of basic schooling, and I had to earn a living. And I said, well, I would love to become a golf professional. And my parents thought, well, maybe you should become a whatever, auto mechanic or anything. But I was totally set on becoming a golf pro, a teaching pro initially. Then I moved away to Munich, became assistant pro, and there were some better players there. That was a big club. They had some really good players, some of the best amateurs and pros in Germany. And I realized I can compete with them as well. And if I just improve a little bit here and there, I might have a chance.
Somewhere during all of this, you had this fateful meeting with Jack Nicklaus.
Soccer was big for all the kids. Everybody enjoyed it. And so this was our spot. Well, look who's here. My brother, Erwin, just arrived, and he even got a ball. So let's see if we can have a kickabout.
And remember, on this pitch, I'm the boss.
I know. He was always talking and, telling everybody what to do on the soccer pitch.
Yeah, of course.
And pretty loud. You could hear him everywhere.
I was the boss.
My strength was running. I was quick. But technique was not ideal. See, that's what happens so many times.
But he was very fast.
Okay. Come here. I'm barely about 16 years old. And they announced that Jack Nicklaus is going to play an exhibition match at our home course there in Munich. And he's going to play with 3 guys. And they invited 2 of the best amateurs from Germany and myself. And I'm thinking, why am I invited? I'm a nobody. I'm just assistant pro. I was thrilled and nervous as heck. I've never really competed in anything big, and this was huge. So the day arrives, and Jack shows up and won. I think it was the 5th hole, a par 5. I hit a good drive, and then I pull hooked a 3-iron left of the green, and I hit one of my members on the shoulder, and the ball bounced back to the green. So I went down there and I apologized and made sure she was okay. And she said, "Yeah, I'm fine. Just go make the putt." And I made the putt for eagle. So that was my highlight of the day. So at the end of the day, the media was there. It was Jack's first appearance in Germany, period. And they asked him, "Well, what do you think about the young pro, the 16-year-old?" And Jack said, "Oh, he's got a lot of heart."
Got a lot of heart.
A lot of heart.
Didn't say a lot about your ability, huh?
Didn't say a lot about my technique or my swing or whatever, but he thought I had a lot of heart. And I guess that goes a long way in golf.
By 76, you're playing in the German National Open, and that was a major milestone for you in your career.
It was. I was able to get in the playoff and win the tournament, win the playoff, and I was barely 17 years old. But this was certainly a big stepping stone to even consider becoming a playing pro and getting away from teaching golf. A year later, I went off to start on the European Tour.
So you left Germany, you started competing all over Europe, improving, and now you get to 1979, and it goes to a whole new level.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was called the Casual under 25 years of age World Championship. I guess I was 22, and I started putting well. I had developed the yips somewhat earlier in my career, struggled a bit with the putting here and there. And in that tournament, I just made a lot of putts, and I won by 17 strokes, which I think it was mentioned in the Guinness Book of World Records. I proved to myself, if you can win by this much, you should be winning other tournaments on tour. And then that happened the very next year. In 1980, I was able to win my first European Tour event, the Dunlop Masters, and from that point on things really improved dramatically.
In 1981, it was around this time where you also kind of had your stature elevated as far as awareness that there's this young star on the horizon over on the European Tour when you hit a shot from a tree.
Yeah, that was very,
what
very
happened there?
Unusual and unique. I was playing the Ben Snatches tournament in Fulford, York, up in England. 17th hole, I had 9-iron for my second, and I pulled it a little bit, and there was this big oak tree right next to the green, and it hit in the top of the tree. Took to my caddy and said, "Where is it?" I said, "I don't know, I didn't see it either." And then sure enough, all the people down there, there may have been 50 or 100 people there, looking like this, looking up the tree, and started to laugh and point and all that kind of stuff. And I said, "Yeah, I think I can play this, so give me a 3-iron." As a joke, obviously.
I like it.
Was able to just wrist it onto the green. Ended up one shot behind Tom Weiskopf, but that picture of me hitting that ball out of the tree went around the world. I played the week after in Akron, Ohio, Firestone, and I remember hearing people in the crowd, "Oh, there's the guy who was up in the tree." They didn't know my name, but they knew I could climb trees.
First time we knew about you. Made you famous. This became now a point where you were an international figure in the game. What happened that year?
Well, I played really well that year. I won the money list in Europe, second in the British Open, won 2 tournaments, had lots of top 10s and so forth. But one of the most exciting things is I got the invitation from the Masters to play in 1982 in April. First time ever for a German professional to set foot at Augusta. And when I finally got there, it was something I'd never seen before. What I do remember the most, what hurt the most in a sense, I made 11 3-putts in 36 holes. And I was 11 behind the leader. So if I hadn't 3-putted, I actually would have been tied for the lead. So missing the cut, leaving, I realized next time if you come back here, or when you come back here, you got to figure out these greens. So 1985 was kind of very strange in many ways. I swapped irons, which I'd never done. I played the first 2 rounds with a set of irons, and then on the weekend I took a whole new set of irons that I had with me, just thinking I'm going to practice there because the facilities are great and the range balls and all that. And I just said, I'll take a chance, put the new irons in. And then I had one shot, maybe the luckiest shot in my life, on 13 on Saturday.
At 13, a turning point. West Germany's Bernhard Langer going for the green from a side hill lie and shouldn't make it, but the ball hops over the water. And he has this left for an eagle.
It hit into the knob, bounced over the creek onto the front edge of the green, and that was one of the best breaks ever.
You call that the shot that changed the course of your career?
Very much so. It was a very lucky shot, an undeserving, a good break.
27 years old, and he's never won in America. But with that one break at Amen Corner, he's now in contention.
At one point I was 4 over for the tournament, and now I'm 2 under, and I'm very happy to be in the red figures.
You were playing with Seve that day.
We all know Seve didn't like the Americans too much when we played the Ryder Cup. Okay, right. He was just, you know, and Europe needs to win the Ryder Cup. And so when we were introduced on the first tee, and I wished him, you know, play well, have a great day, and he kind of says, yeah, let's make sure the winner comes out of this group and not behind us, which was Raymond Floyd and Curtis Strange. Let's get the green jacket, go to Europe.
Ahead at 5, Langer paired with Ballesteros to stay close. And the West German is 2 back.
Oh, unbeatable stuff. Tremendous. What a lovely cushion if he can retain that 4-stroke advantage going to Amen Corner.
Some say the tournament starts at the 10th hole Sunday. If that's true, it did not start well for Curtis Strange.
I knew he missed it when he hit it. So a tough bogey.
Meanwhile, Ford at the 12th. Langer. Yes, as he moves to 4 under. Look at this. Look at this. Curtis Strange moves back to 7 under.
For birdie. He leaves the 13th hole, 5 under.
And he is only 2 shots behind Curtis Strange.
And then we know what happened with Curtis Strange.
At 13 and 15.
Yeah.
Doesn't like that, he said. That is in the creek. Oh my. What can you say?
It goes in, he has the lead. this to tie the lead. There he is, tied for the lead. At the top of the hill, Curtis Strange has chosen a 4-iron. He's 215 yards from the hole. Appeared to come off that a touch. Is it in the water? Yes, it is. There, the ripples tell the sad story.
Langer will have about 9 feet for birdie to give him a 2-stroke advantage here. Perfect. Langer now 5 under par for the day and moves out to a 2-stroke advantage with 1 hole left to play.
I just birdied 17 and we walk off the green. Seve puts his arm around my shoulder and goes, "Bernhard, this is your time to win the Masters, and you played really well and you deserve this. You're a great champion. Go get it." And I said, "Well, yeah, thanks, Seve, but I still got a hole to go. We're not done yet."
And how did you play 18?
I hit a good tee shot and played a little safe on the second one, pushed it in the right bunker and blasted out.
Langer for par. This could ice it right here. Back to 17. Well, Curtis Strange only 1 behind if he makes it. Birdie on 18. We could be looking at sudden death.
Langer now for his tap in for bogey. And all he has to do now is sit and wait for Curtis Strange to come up 18.
When you hold out at the 72nd, does Seve say anything to you now?
Well, he congratulated me. He said, "Bernhard, well done. I think you're going to win this. I don't think anybody can catch you, and it was an honor playing with you."
Bernhard's wife, Vicky, with him. This is the store right now. Oh, down. Oh, down. Bernhard Langer, the 1985 Masters champion.
You married Vicky in 84, and here you are at Augusta in 85, and she's right there behind the 18th green, watching you win the green jacket. What was that like for you?
It was fantastic. You know, I finally won my first major, and that's something we all dream about, and just a lot of gratitude and love and relief, and just thankful, you know, that I had someone like Vicky to share this with.
And I look forward to coming back here for the rest of my life as long as I can walk. Thank you.
I remember this one. After the first Masters, we got, I arrived from America, and the mayor of Anhausen had a couple of horses and a buggy, and we sat on the buggy and were driven around town with my green jacket on. That's pretty crazy.
Amazingly, you follow up the Masters win with the win that week at Hilton Head. And now, a couple of weeks after that, you go back to Germany for the first time as a Masters champion. What was that reception like for you?
Yeah, it was pretty incredible to come home to my little village, and people came out and and cheered and yelled and screamed and just celebrated with me. I had the green jacket on. We were allowed to take it for a year, and many of them, had very little idea what the green jacket is and what the Masters is, but they knew something special happened, and they were happy for me.
It's amazing how things in life come full circle. Divine intervention, maybe, that a 16-year-old kid gets to meet Jack Nicklaus. And years later, in 1986, you as the defending champion, putting the jacket on Jack Nicklaus's historic 6th Masters victory. What are the odds?
Yeah, no, it's never forget that moment, Jack, the Golden Bear, winning his 6th green jacket. Nobody expected him to do it.
Yes, sir!
And I was an eyewitness. I was in contention myself. And here I am, putting the green jacket on him. It was cool being there and being part of the history of the game.
Have you ever gone back and told Jack about you at a country club and you being a 16-year-old nervously playing with him?
Oh, yeah, I did when we were both at the Champions Dinner. And I pulled him aside and I said, Jack, remember the day you were in Munich? And he said, yeah, you were a little guy, and we played together. So he remembered a little bit of it.
Well, a lot of people here and maybe throughout the country don't know what trouble you've had with your putting. You must be the youngest man who's ever got the yips.
You were so young the first time that you had to overcome the yips. How did you find the willpower to fight through that?
I've had it 4 times in my career, and I don't wish it on my biggest enemy. I mean, I went from regular grip to cross-handed, which was unheard of at the time. Then I grabbed my forearm, which was, people were looking at me like, is he from a different planet or what? And then eventually with a long putter, anchored initially and then now non-anchored. So it's been quite a story with my putting.
I really thought about giving it up if it doesn't improve the next couple of years.
And play soccer for Bayern Munich?
No, that's too late now.
There had to be times where you thought, this could end my career.
Oh, absolutely. Several times. I remember one time vividly, it was 1989. I was at Flint, Michigan, and I remember missing the cut by a mile, playing the best golf or some of the best golf from tee to green and missing the cut by 8 shots or something. And at that point in time, I was ready to give up the game. I went on my knees and literally begged God or prayed to him and said, show me what you want me to do. I'm ready to give up the game of golf. I can't take this any longer. But another friend of mine prayed with me, and he said, I don't think he's done with you. I think he wants you to persevere. And I said, I've been persevering for years and months, and it's going nowhere. I said, well, he's persevere some more. And, now we're looking back almost 35 years later. A lot of good things have happened in my golfing life since then.
In the immediate years after winning at Augusta, you continued to contend there. 3 top 10s. You had 3 top 10s at the Open Championship. And then along comes 1991. We know you've overcome from 89 the yips. But there's the Ryder Cup at Kiowa. And it comes down to the last putt.
So I was last out playing Hale Irwin, and it comes down to our match. And the U.S. have a 1-point lead. So I have to win this match to keep the trophy in Europe. He missed his par putt, so I had a 6-footer to win the match and the Ryder Cup.
Everything.
All of it.
Everything comes down to it.
And if I don't make it, we lose the Ryder Cup. So it all comes down to the 6-footer. I thought I made a decent stroke, but as I looked up, I saw it breaking and went over the right edge and missed. And, all hell broke loose in a sense from a European standpoint. I just missed the putt of my lifetime. I felt so bad for my whole team.
Did you think that would affect the rest of your career? Did you think it would be difficult to win another major?
I really didn't know. I never had a putt like this before in my life. All I knew was I did the best I could. That's all I can ever ask myself. But I ended up winning the German Masters the very next week, so that was a pretty good cure for what happened a week earlier. I've had my shares of downs and had to persevere many a times and was able to do that.
Heading into the 1993 Masters tournament, how were you feeling about your game?
Yeah, that's some of the best golf I've played in my life.
Bernhard, this room is stunning. And this right here, is there a story behind this?
Yeah, this is unique. It's the actual driver I used at the 93 Masters. I think I was the last Masters winner with a persimmon head and steel shaft. So see how small this thing is?
Small this thing is.
It's unbelievable.
Wow.
How we used these clubs so well for so many years.
On your way to a 4-shot lead at 54 holes, you hit this amazing Larry Mize-like shot at 11.
And here's the leader, Bernhard Langer, with his chip shot from the right.
Crisis! Anybody thinking of Larry Mize?
Yeah, very fortunate. I'm a great friend of Larry Mize's and watched that shot many a times. And I was lucky to, copy it in a sense. Very important for me at the time. I could have easily made bogey, and now I made birdie and increased my lead to 4.
So you have this 4-shot lead going into Sunday, and you get to the second night, and it's down to 1. Chip Beck is there. Dan Forsman's there. Dan's playing the 12th. Up ahead of you. You probably could have seen what happened over there.
I saw exactly what happened.
Now here's the third shot for Dan Forsman.
Go, hurry.
Stay up.
I saw him dropping again. And I heard all the boos and ahs, from the crowd. He took a big number.
It'll be a quadruple bogey for Dan Forsman.
So now it's really down to you and Chip Beck, and you're at 13. And this would prove to be a pivotal point in the tournament. Chip knocks it on the green in 2.
Is a fantastic golf shot. This is even better. Watch this one.
That may have been one of my best shots under pressure in all my life.
So it's been a long time since he's had that. He read it correctly.
So another benefit was to see him putt first.
How about that drive? How about that second shot? And how about that putt? Wow.
Then it's on to 15. And the decision, you face, Chip face, to go for it or not into the 15th and 2. What do you remember about that?
Yeah, I was almost fortunate to miss-hit my tee shot a bit because I was so short I couldn't go for it. I had to lay up, and it was into a little breeze. So I laid up, and then it was Chip's turn.
I suppose he's got to go for it. You can't lay up now.
90. Let's lay up. Let's be smart about it. 198. Okay, that's fine. Whatever's on your mind. What's the yardage? 198 to the water.
Ben, I have to go out on a limb and say, with laying up, he's protecting second place.
Little layup.
And he's just hit a little layup.
Well, we know what happened. He laid up and then didn't hit a good pitching wedge, went over the green, and I made birdie.
Yes! This man is really in control of his own destiny, and now virtually in control of the Masters. Good stroke, but hard to fathom that he should lay up.
He was pretty much crucified by a lot of the media, and a lot of other people didn't understand why he wouldn't go for it.
You think he made the right decision?
You know, he felt that he's a very strong wedge player, and he could probably make birdie that way easier than going for it and throwing the tournament away.
You're walking up the 72nd hole knowing you're going to be the Masters champion for the second time. Your family's behind the green. It's Easter Sunday. What was that moment like for you?
It was a very unique and out-of-this-world experience. I had a 4-shot lead. I knew even I couldn't screw that up, basically, and really was able to enjoy the standing ovation that I got. But the biggest thing was it was Easter Sunday, and I'd become a Christian at this point in time. And to win the biggest tournament on Easter Sunday is just, you know, a wonderful feeling.
Watch this. Watch this. Ooh. I had a feeling you might make that. A little smile. Well, how about this? He bogeyed the first hole and bogeyed the 18th, and everything else in between was absolutely perfect.
And then to have family and friends there with me to celebrate and to reflect is exceptional.
Did you feel you had gained even more respect with that win than you did the first time?
Probably from some people, I imagine, but I didn't have to prove anything to anybody. But, you know, you always have some people that critique you, and they probably thought the first one was handed to me, but this one I earned myself.
There would be many more times at Augusta where you were in the mix. 2004, 2014. You did amazing things in 2020. And all of this against a backdrop of dominating the Champions Tour. The most remarkable run that's ever been seen. You're still winning. How have you done it? How have you stayed motivated?
I've always been one that never had an issue with motivation. I love the game of golf. I love to compete. And I think winning on a regular basis on the PGA Tour Champions really helped me to become a better player and even compete at the Masters or the Open Championship. I did fairly well for an old guy.
Well, you've set the old guy record for oldest to win on the Champions Tour. You broke your own record. You broke it again. You broke it the next year. You broke it the next year. This thing just keeps happening. And people sit back and say, this is like legendary stuff. What a back into a competitive career with that amazing start as a 9-year-old caddy. And you've done a lot for Germany in golf. German golf went to a whole new level because of you.
Well, it needed to. It was nowhere. So that wasn't very hard to do, but it's great to see that, you know, Germany is, the game is growing, and we have at least 12, 15 PGA Tour players now that try to make a living, and they're doing fairly well, and the same with the ladies. So it's good to watch that and fun to see.
There's a lot of legacies here, from the Hall of Fames and major championships and Ryder Cups and on and on. But being the father of German golf, that never goes away. I mean, there's permanence there. Is it meaningful to you?
Somewhat, yeah. You know, being the father, you made me sound really old now. But
could have said grandfather.
It's true. But I guess it's true. Yeah, you know, there was no one before me that ever had international success, and it's. I'm a little proud to look back and see where German golf has come, and where it's going to go.
Who are you thankful for that got you to this place in your life to have all these accomplishments?
You know, certainly my parents, my siblings, my wife Vicky, my kids, my coaches that I've had, my caddies. Peter Coleman was with me for 20 odd years now. Terry Holt has been with me 18 years. So all those people are very important. They're all part of the puzzle, all of the mystery of the success, whatever you want to call it, to make you the best that you can be.
I'm going to rattle off some accolades. 2-time Masters champion. 2nd all-time winner on the European Tour. Most all-time wins on the Champions Tour. 12 senior major titles. World Golf Hall of Fame. A career that began over 50 years ago. Responsible for inspiring an entire nation of golfers. Husband, father. Incredible life well lived. And part of you will always be there at Augusta. It never goes away.
Best way to put it. Very blessed man in many ways. And very fortunate and blessed to be a very small piece of this wonderful tournament called the Masters that will live on forever and has come such a long way and will go even further in the future.
Bernhard, I'm inspired in more ways.
Thank you, Jim.
Than just golf.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Same to you.